At 6:32 p.m. on July 19, 2018, a bus full of tourists drove down a boat ramp in Missouri and straight into a lake. Nobody panicked. They had done this before. The vehicle was built to float. The driver had done this run dozens of times that summer alone. 31 passengers, 2 crew, a calm lake, a 20-minute loop around a scenic island. 17 of them would be dead within the hour. If you like this type of video, don't forget to like and subscribe. The vehicle was called a duck boat. The name comes from a military manufacturing code, DUKW, assigned by General Motors in 1942. D for the development year, U for amphibious, K and W for four-wheel drive. It was built for war, specifically for beach assaults. Get troops ashore fast, cross rivers without waiting for a bridge, move supplies where regular trucks couldn't follow. Nearly 2,000 of them landed at Normandy on D-Day. They were never designed to carry tourists. They were designed to survive gunfire, not to reassure a family on vacation. After the war ended, the military had thousands of surplus amphibious vehicles and no use for them. In 1946, a veteran named Bob Unger bought one. He and a friend refurbished it and started running sightseeing tours on the Wisconsin River. It worked. People loved the novelty. A single tour that covered land and water, with a thrilling splash in between. The idea spread. Ride the Ducks opened in Branson, Missouri in 1977. Over the following decades, it expanded across the country. Some of the boats were stretched longer than their original wartime design to fit more paying passengers. More seats, same hull, same canopy. On July 19, 2018, Ride the Ducks was running its normal schedule out of Branson. Multiple boats, back-to-back tours, all afternoon. Duckboat 7 loaded passengers just before 6:30 p.m. Managers had been watching the weather. They knew a storm was moving in. So they made a decision. Instead of doing the water portion last, as usual, they would send the boat onto the lake first. The idea was to beat the storm. At 6:32 p.m., Duckboat 7 drove down the ramp and entered Table Rock Lake. Passengers could see lightning on the far horizon. The driver told them not to worry. If the storm became a real hazard, he said, they would not be going out onto the water. They were already on the water. At 6:55 p.m., the captain took over from the driver, as was standard once the boat entered the lake. He gave a short safety briefing. He pointed out the life jackets stored above the passengers' heads. Then he told them they wouldn't need them. Someone lowered the plastic curtains around the sides of the boat to keep out spray and rain. The lake was calm, barely a ripple. Another company boat, Duckboat 54, was out on the water not far ahead of them. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then the storm arrived. Not gradually, all at once. This wasn't ordinary weather. It was a derecho, a fast-moving wall of straight-line winds, sometimes stretching hundreds of miles wide, capable of producing gusts as strong as a tornado without the rotation. Within seconds, the lake went from glass calm to violent chop. Both boats turned toward shore. Duckboat 7 was closer to land. It should have made it first. But Duckboat 54 had higher sides, better able to cut through the waves that had just formed out of nowhere. It overtook Duckboat 7 and reached the shore. Duckboat 7 did not. Near the dock, a paddle wheel showboat was fighting to stay in place, its crew forced to fire up the engines just to avoid being torn loose by the wind. Duckboat 7 passed close to it, and then it started to list. Water came in fast. Within seconds, it was gone beneath the surface. The captain had just enough time to unlatch the plastic curtain on one side. He was wearing his life jacket. When the boat went under, the buoyancy of the vest pulled him out through the open windshield. He survived. The driver and 31 passengers did not have that same advantage. Most of them were not wearing life jackets. The vests were stored above their heads in a rack, and as the boat sank, passengers described them as jammed together, tangled, difficult to pull free even for those who reached for them in time. The canopy that had kept out the rain now kept people in. Passengers had to find the open windshield or the one open curtain, force their way through the gap, and then swim up through storm-churned water in the dark. Some made it. Most did not. Rescuers on the showboat threw lines to survivors as they surfaced. 3 crew members from the showboat jumped into the water to help pull people out. The current immediately swept all 3 of them away from the site. They survived. Other boats picked them up. 17 people did not survive Duckboat 7. 9 of them were from a single family. The Colemans, ages 1, 2, 7, 9, 40, 45, 69, 70, and 76. 2 members of that family lived. The other victims ranged from 15 to 73 years old. The driver, 73-year-old Bob Williams, died with them. The National Transportation Safety Board investigated. Their findings were almost identical to a previous investigation 19 years earlier after a different Ride the Ducks accident in 1999 had killed 13 people. In that earlier report, the NTSB recommended removing the canopies, the exact structural feature that traps passengers when a duckboat sinks. 19 years later, the boats still had canopies. The NTSB made the same recommendation again. They also identified the decision to enter the water ahead of an approaching storm as a direct contributing factor. Managers at Ride the Ducks knew the weather was coming. They chose speed over caution. They sent Duckboat 7 onto the lake specifically to try to beat conditions they already knew were dangerous. No criminal charges were ever successfully brought against the company or its staff after years of legal proceedings. Civil lawsuits followed. The costs eventually forced Ride the Ducks to close every one of its locations. Duckboat tours still exist today, run by other operators. Weather forecasting has improved since 2018. Storm warnings arrive earlier and with more precision than they did even a decade ago. But a forecast is only information. Someone still has to decide what to do with it. In July of 2018, the people responsible for that decision looked at an incoming storm and decided the smart move was to go faster. 17 people paid for that decision with their lives. The boats were designed to survive war. Nobody ever designed them to survive a bad decision made under a clock.